Hello, this is Mr. Painter with another fabulous IXL tutorial. Today we're working on IXL Q.5 Classified Quadrilateral Section 2. Alright, on the right side here we're going to take some notes on our graphic organizer, which I have started, and let's go ahead and take a look and understand it a little bit more so we're good. Alright, when we talk about the overall polygons with four sides, they're always going to be a quadrilateral. So when we look at trapezoids, quadrilateral, rhombuses, parallelograms, rectangles, squares, and kites will always be quadrilaterals. So notice that because trapezoid is under the word quadrilateral, a trapezoid is always a quadrilateral. However, a quadrilateral will sometimes be a trapezoid. But why sometimes? Well, a quadrilateral could be a trapezoid, a parallelogram, or it could be a kite, but it can't be all three at the same time. So, following the arrows here, when you follow the arrows, it will sometimes work. Now, if it's underneath the quadrilateral, it's always true for that equation. So, let's take a look at this one here on our IXL. Is a trapezoid, so I'm going to draw that arrow, is a trapezoid always a quadrilateral? So, notice we have the word trapezoid pointing to the quadrilateral. So, here's trapezoid, following this arrow back to the quadrilateral, and notice the word always. Because a trapezoid is under the quadrilateral, a trapezoid absolutely will always be a quadrilateral. All right, next one, we got 14 points. Is a parallelogram always a square? That's a new one. So a parallelogram right here going to square. Now remember, when you go with the arrows, that sometimes might work. And because we have the word sometimes, and our IXL question here has the word always, that will cause this to not always be true. Therefore, I'm going to select no. A square is a parallelogram, but parallelograms are definitely not always a square, so this one's a no. All right. Is a kite a quadrilateral? All right. So back to our notes, we got a kite going to quadrilateral. Remember, because under quadrilateral, that's always going to be true. Kites are always quadrilaterals. All right, so this one's absolutely yes. Can't have a kite without having four sides, so it's got to be a quadrilateral. All right, is a square always a rectangle? It's a good one. Okay, so we're on square going back to rectangle, and when we go back, it's always. So again, when you go back, always. So yes on that one. Is a quadrilateral always a parallelogram? So now they're asking us to start on top and go down to parallelogram. And because we're following the arrows, it sometimes might be true. Why is it sometimes? Because a quadrilateral could be a trapezoid, or a quadrilateral could be a kite instead, but not always a parallelogram. So this one's a no. Is a rectangle always a quadrilateral? So a rectangle here, a quadrilateral going to here. So rectangle to quadrilateral. And because we're going up against the arrow, a rectangle will always be a quadrilateral. So this one's yes. Is a trapezoid always a quadrilateral? Okay, trapezoid, always a quadrilateral. That one we've done before. Look, we even marked it. So this one's a yes. Yeah, trapezoid always has to be a quadrilateral. Smart score is 66. We're flying right through it. We're only 6 minutes in, and that's including the explanation of the notes. Is a rhombus always a square? So a rhombus and square, look at, there is no arrow that connects the two at all. So a rhombus and square don't really have anything to do with each other besides being quadrilaterals. So a rhombus is definitely not going to always be a square. There's not even a connection at all. So pick no on those. Is a parallelogram always a rectangle? Parallelogram going to a rectangle. Because we follow the arrows, it's sometimes. So therefore, the word always isn't true. 2 more to go. We'll be at a smart score of 80. Choose a word that makes the sentence true. A parallelogram is blank a rhombus. Notes, 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 notes. We got a rhombus. And the other one was talking about a parallelogram. Where are they at? All right. So now a parallelogram following the arrow to rhombus. Now, because I'm following the arrow and we follow the arrows here, it sometimes can work. Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. So we're going to pick sometimes on that. Last question. Choose a word that makes the sentence true. A rectangle is blank a square. So here's the arrow right here. We got a rectangle and a square. And because we're going to rectangle to the square following the arrow, that will be sometimes. So again, when you follow the arrow, it's sometimes. All right. All right, here we go. That concludes our IXL tutorial for Q5, classified quadrilaterals number 2. Have a fantastic day.